مؤمنة وقوية وهيك الله بده صح؟
بقيت حياتك حبيبتي يرحم ما فقدته.
My life I feel as though I've been waiting for a catastrophe to happen.
You are just here.
Good message. Take father back.
Hello and welcome to our film show where tragedy, courage and destiny inform the movies we're covering this week. Joining us in the studio are critic Lisa Nesselson and Jordanian filmmaker Amjad Al Rasheed, whose film Inshallah a Boy is out now in France. Hello to you both. Now Amjad, this is your first feature-length film. It's an inspiring portrait of a mother and widow determined to take control of her own life despite the constraints of the patriarchal society she lives in. So before we go any further, let's take a look at Inshallah a Boy, which was in fact the first Jordanian film shown at the Cannes Film Festival.
أنا بقول نبيع البيت.
يعني إحنا إذا طلعنا من البيت ما في مكان تاني نروح عليه، وين بدنا نعيش؟
ولا ويا مرت أخوي، وين رحت أنا؟
هذا بيتي ومش بايعته، وغير هيك ما عندي.
أهل الزوج المتوفى لهم نصيب من الميراث عصبة في حال الزوج لم ينجب مولود ذكر من زوجته.
سيدي أنا حامل.
Nawal, abruptly widowed, is 30 years old and suddenly has to face enough problems for a whole lifetime. You portray women very, very well. Are female characters more interesting to you than male?
Well, it's the story. It's the story, the human story at first. Maybe because I was, since I was a child, I was surrounded by women. I'm lucky to be raised in a family that is full of women, my mom, my aunts, my sister, my cousins. So I was observing them since I was a child, and I was feeling like there are a lot of stories there. But again, it's the story that grabs my attention.
Indeed, in that story, we see just how sexist the law in Jordan is when it comes to inheritance. That is, if a man dies with no male child, then half of his estate goes to his brothers and sisters. It does seem very unfair. Why has this not been challenged up until now? Surely people want it to change.
Well, it's complicated, to be honest. These laws are coming from Sharia laws, which is from the Quran. And it's how we explain the religion, how we treat the religion in our society. And in the film, I was not only focusing on the inheritance, I was focusing also on women problem in general, from different backgrounds, from different religions. So it's a question of how society are dealing with women.
For two characters, being able to continue or end a pregnancy is absolutely crucial. France this week became the first country in the world to enshrine a woman's right to terminate a pregnancy in its constitution. Can you imagine the day that happens in Jordan?
Well, it's a bit far. To be honest with you, I think there are other fights that we need to do first. Freedom, it does not come by itself. It's a fight, and there are many strong women, many initiatives in Jordan and in the Middle East where we're trying to push for more rights for women, equality, and we're trying our best there. So for abortion, it's a bit far. And it's not only in Jordan, like when we see what's happening nowadays in the US, for example, laws are changing, and it's changing not in a good way, not in the benefit of women.
Now, if we go back to that central character, Nawal, and her daughter, Noor, I found those characters, the creation of them and the acting extremely authentic, especially the dynamic. Where did you find the inspiration for that relationship?
Well, first of all, it comes with the writing. I was lucky to collaborate with my main producer, Roland Nasser, who was the co-writer of the script, and then Delphine Agut, of course, who came maybe on a later stage, but it shaped with us the story and the script. But these moments between the mother and daughter was really the input of Rula. As a mother, she knows these emotions better than me, of course, and it was a great help to capture this authenticity of this relationship.
This is a co-production between Jordan, France, and I think Saudi Arabia and Qatar. How important is French support for filmmaking in your part of the world?
Well, it's very important, to be honest, to have... first of all, I'm very proud that this is mainly Arab production, especially for the topic. It's brave from all the countries who participated in this sensitive film that tackling sensitive topics that might be taboo sometimes in some countries. So. With France, definitely it's a great support, especially with our co-producer, Georges Films, Nicolas Leprêtre. They were with us from the beginning of developing the whole project. They believed in this film since the beginning, and with the fund of the CNC, we were able to finish this film.
Well, we're moving to another film that's out this week in France. It's called Benediction, written and directed by British filmmaker Terence Davies. He's currently the subject of a retrospective at the Pompidou Centre here in Paris.
If there's an afterlife, Terence Davies is probably looking down and saying, damn, I'm missing out on my own retrospective in an important French art museum because Davies died this past October, age 77. He was an incredibly funny man who made films that would make you assume he was dour and serious. His final film, Benediction, is dour and serious and superb.
OK, well, let's take a look at the life of British poet Siegfried Sassoon, a decorated combat veteran who was forever affected by what he saw in World War I and ended up spending time in a psychiatric clinic following that experience. This is Benediction.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of our greatest poets.
Name,
Sassoon Siegfried,
rank,
second lieutenant.
disease,
I've had some sort of breakdown. Your lot is with the ghosts of soldiers dead, and I am in the field where men must fight.
Your duty lies in obeying orders.
In the face of such slaughter, one cannot simply order one's conscience. Good morning, Doctor.
we have a house magazine. I'm sure it would welcome a contribution.
Well, I'll try to write something light and amusing.
There's no need to go that far.
Davies is a good example of how gifted artists can emerge from absolutely any background. He was the youngest of 10 children in a poor Catholic family in Liverpool with a very abusive father. He left school at age 16, worked for 10 years as a shipping clerk, and then turned to drama. Some of his noteworthy films include his feature debut, Distant Voices, Still Lives, The House of Mirth, adapted from Edith Wharton and starring Gillian Anderson, and A Quiet Passion, based on the life of American poet Emily Dickinson.
Very interesting body of work to delve into there. Now, next, the true story of English banker Nicholas Winton, what he accomplished in the weeks leading up to the Nazi invasion of what was then Czechoslovakia. It's been adapted for the screen. It's called One Life, and it stars Anthony Hopkins, no less.
When Nicholas Winton was 29 years old, he went to Prague for a humanitarian visit, and seeing families that had fled because they were Jewish or had stood up to the Nazis, living in absolute squalor, his overwhelming instinct was to get as many children as possible to the safety of England. He had no special training, just an infinite supply of compassion and the urgency of his mission. Helped by brave locals, he arranged to speed up the visa process, found foster families in England, arranged for the trains to transport the children, and raised the funds, all flying by the seat of his pants with basic tools like typewriters and photographs and tireless effort. He rescued 669 children before the Nazis arrived and closed the border. Amazingly, nobody, including the children he rescued, knew the role he had played until a much-watched English TV program, That's Life, informed transformed the world in 1988. It is estimated that starting with those 669 young souls, as many as 6,000 people alive today owe their existence to Nicholas Winton, who was knighted and lived to be 106.
A very impressive life, and that was a legendary moment in British TV history as well. So we've got one excellent actor there, Anthony Hopkins, and another household name as well.
Hopkins is perfection, and Helena Bonham Carter is a hoot as his formidable mother, who has a knack for motivating protocol-obsessed members of the bureaucracy. This is a good movie about a good man, well-made, incredibly moving, suspenseful, not devoid of dry humor, and deeply inspiring. And it should be noted that the precariousness of refugees in the world today is greater than it has been at any time since World War II.
So a historical movie that is, in fact, very timely. Thank you very much for that roundup, Lisa. And thank you for joining us in the studio today, Amjad, as well.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
We'll leave you with a glimpse of One Life, named for the saying, save one life and you save the world. Do remember to check in with us on our website and our social media, where you can get more movie news on Arts24.
You've a lot of faith in ordinary people.
Because I'm an ordinary person. Save one life, save the world.
Forgive me, but how many children are we speaking about?
Can I ask, is there anyone in the audience tonight who owes their life to Nicholas Winton?
Prostitution has been legal in Germany since 2001.
Over time, the new legislation allowed greater acceptance of sex workers in society.
Some consider it an opportunity.
So if I ever have problems with the mafia, for example, all I have to do is pick up my phone and call the police, and they will take care of the problem.
For others, the reality is darker.
The message we conveyed was that everything was consensual. Everything was fine. It's a job like any other that allows you to earn a good amount of money, but everything was fake.
Legalized prostitution has blown up our value system, but we look away.
Legal prostitution in Germany, the failure in Reporters on France 24 and France24.com.